Yeah, it's like a little bit of a mixed bag for me right now. So I'm just genuinely having a great time. Happy July 12th and Merry Christmas. This weekend, I intend on indulging in as much cozy Christmas comfort related media that I possibly can. My soul has been in need of some good times. So here we are on the couch. For this weekend, I plan on reading some different Christmas related books, watching some holiday movies, cooking some comfort food, and there is a small possibility that I will go Christmas shopping, but the odds of that are pretty low because my car is in the shop right now. I wanted to kick off reading. The books that I have, it's just a little small selection. 6 books in total. 3 are books that I've already read, so they would be rereads if I can get to all of these books throughout the next day and a half. And then the other 3 are more recently purchased used books, much thanks to Sarah Corelli's book recommendation video. So thank you, Sarah. The book that I want to start off with is a young adult romance book. It is called The Holiday Switch by Tiff Marcello. This is one of the more recently purchased books that I have. It was priced at $2.29 from Goodwill. Though our main character in this book is a high school student and she works at her local inn, and the setting just has a really cool backdrop. It's in Holly, New York, where a very popular movie was filmed. It says the greatest film of all time, Holiday by the Lake. While she's working, she ends up crushing on her boss's nephew, and I think this is just going to be a cute read. Okay, it is time for a book update. I am currently a little over 150 pages in The Holiday Switch by Tiff Marcello. I absolutely love this book. This book is so adorable. Definitely one of my top favorite romance books, top favorite young adult books. It's just so great. I think that the writing just provides so much more than what you would naturally expect. So typically, if you're picking up a young adult romance book, you're looking for something that's kind of cozy, a coming of age story. You're generally learning about the protagonist's first crush and their developing feelings or possibly their first love. And you're definitely getting that in this book, but just so much more on top of that, which makes it even more enjoyable. Our characters are extremely well developed, and you're learning a bit more about their familial relationships. Our protagonist, Lila, is Filipina, so you're getting a little bit more about her culture, and also just it kind of transports you exactly to where you were when you were like 16, 17, 18. You're at this point in your life in high school where you're having to make these decisions about your future and what you want to do, what path do you want to take. You're also trying to make money and you're working like a part-time job. This like took me directly back to that experience, and it kind of gave me a different outlook as well, because when you're an adult and you're thinking about these kids in high school, it's kind of like, oh, like why stress? And then you kind of forget that you also had all of this mounting stress with your job and social pressure and homework and future possibilities and what to do and moving out of your parents' house and where to live. So I was just kind of blown away with that. Something else that I totally dismissed when I was reading the synopsis earlier is that Lila, our protagonist, is also like an anonymous book blogger. Throughout the book, there's also these excerpts of her blog posts that are also correlated to her life and kind of her developing relationship with this nephew. And then the last thing I want to add too is that she has this little to-do list of like, if you were vacationing in my town, what are all the touristy things that you would do? Her experiencing these things and checking them off with her friends along the way is just, it's doing something to my brain I was not expecting, but I'm so thankful for. I could continue to ramble on, but what I'm going to do is finish the last 100 pages of this book. So, am I having a good time? Yes. Is my mood steadily increasing? Yes. Okay, so I just added in some kale. What I want to do next is something a little bit different, maybe something you haven't really thought about before. I don't know. I really love the company KiwiCo. And for anyone who may not know, KiwiCo is like a science company. They offer STEM kits for kids, and there's different age brackets you can choose from. Everything in there is something I'm interested in. And I've purchased some different kits for myself throughout the past few years. My favorite by far has been the Fire Lab kit. But yeah, we're about to do a nice little Christmas kit for ourselves. I've had this sitting under this coffee table for almost a month at this point in time. And today is the day that we pursue this. So, what we're going to be doing is Santa's Sleigh Automaton. Can you see this? This is what we're about to build. So you can see the pieces on the back. I'll open this up and give you a preview inside. I'm probably going to bring the laptop out and play some sort of holiday movie in the background while I build this guy. Okay. Soup and sourdough are the perfect pairing. I know many of you would agree to that. I have since moved on to a nice decaf chai. I also have my last chocolate almond biscotti I'm about to enjoy as well. I'm still watching Christmas at the Golden Dragon and I am liking it. I'm about halfway through. I have 40 minutes to go. So I think I'm going to just have my tea and treat and finish that. And then afterwards, I'm going to be starting my next book. And that book is The Kingdom of Sweets by Erica Johansson. Kingdom of Sweets is a story about the Nutcracker. It's inspired by the Nutcracker ballet. And I love ballet. I miss it so much. So I'm hoping that this is a very beautiful read. Basically, this story is about this set of twins that were cursed by their grandfather. One twin lives in this life of beauty and lightness, whereas the other twin has basically just the opposite. She lives in her sister's shadow and is kind of consumed by this world of darkness. And one day, her grandfather visits them with this nutcracker, which is a portal to the kingdom of sweets. And there she's trying to find the sugar plum fairy. I think the other sister gets involved. I don't know if they have like the best relationship or not, just based on the dynamics that are given. Hopefully they sort their way through it. And then the sister that is trying to seek this power, she's going to have to choose which world she wants to live in. Okay, so first and foremost, cocktail sauce is just so good. I now have thumbprints of it throughout my book. What else do you eat cocktail sauce with? I was imagining myself just like straight up drinking it. It's the horseradish root that I really like. But, anyways, I am loving this book so much. I'm a little over 100 pages in now, and it's I'm gaining confidence in reading fantasy. I feel like I'm being very selective with what I'm reading, and the books that I have read so far, I've enjoyed. So, that is a good sign to me. Something that I've noticed as well that when I'm reading books I really like is that my brain is just kind of lighting up all over the place. I'm thinking of like 100 new things all at once. And it's a source of inspiration for me. I'm thinking about hosting my own Christmas party. I'm thinking about ballets and how I wish I could do Vlogmas. I don't know. You just kind of see like the beauty of things, I think, more around the holidays. And that's something that I feel like people should be making an effort to see the beauty in life every day. Yes, I'm just genuinely having a great time. In the book so far, the twins had their 17th birthday party celebration. So the night of Christmas Eve, their family was hosting a party. One of the twins was announcing an engagement. So it was kind of a big deal because they need the money. They were gifted from their magician cursing godfather some presents, which may or may not be a good thing. And now they're in the kingdom of sweets. I feel like I'm reading it pretty quickly, but I think it's just because I am enjoying it. I think I'm going to look to see if I have any peppermint tea lingering about. Welcome to this nice change of scenery. We have kind of quickly stopped over at what will someday be our ceramic room. And normally if I'm here, I'm usually sitting in this nice camper chair, but as you can see, it is overridden with vines right now. This is an Alamo vine plant. You can kind of see where some of the flower buds were. I'll come back here tomorrow and I'm gonna check to see if they're the same flowers that open and close, or are they just a day-long bloomer? Do they have a day-long bloom time? Probably gonna head out pretty soon, but I figured I can give you my book update because I have finished The Kingdom of Sweets by Erica Johansson, and I am a little confused. I will tell you that. Earlier on, you heard me raving about this book. I thought the premise was really cool. I liked the tie-in with the Nutcracker very much. We're having a nice little celebration in the beginning. We're having their birthday party around Christmas Eve, so that was a good time for me. The main character also reminded me a little bit of the main character from Mexican Gothic by Silvia Moreno Garcia, which I really liked. That's one of my favorite books as well. So I was thinking this is going to be a 5-star, like right from the start, which I was not expecting. I haven't heard very many people talk about this book, surprisingly. I totally don't know where I stand now. I don't have any real critiques because I'm just a little confused. I probably have to think about it a little bit more. What I did like with the book is that it wasn't just we're in our real world and then in the fantasy world up until the last 5 pages of the book. We do a little like dipping. I liked that the structure was a little bit different than the standard formula, and I liked that it wasn't something I could have guessed, but something just kind of threw me off, and I honestly don't know what it is. I was trying to see some other reviews. I was looking to Reddit, which was maybe my first mistake, but everyone on Reddit that had an opinion was not communicating in a way that gave any validity or reasoning as to why they felt the way they did. They were just complaining, but I need to know why. So have a nice little orange as a snack. Very much makes me think of Christmas time. The ending didn't ruin the book for me, so I'd still rate this like a 4-star book. Well, anyways, I brought along my novella, but I think we're leaving soon, so I probably can't read much of it out here, which is fine because the mosquitoes have found me. But the next book I want to read is actually one of my rereads, and I want to read this because it's a novella and will not take me very long, and I still want to read at least one more book tonight. I'll probably start it tonight and I'll finish it sometime tomorrow. But my next book is going to be The Visitor by Sergio Gomez. This is about a snowstorm on Christmas in Indiana. 5 strangers are forced to take shelter inside of a roadside diner. As the night progresses, the snowfall shows no signs of relenting. Ice builds, temperatures drop, but the worst has nothing to do with the weather and everything to do with this 6th visitor coming to the diner. I love this cover. Can I show you this one more time? I love this cover. Has a nice little Christmas tree, alien silhouette. I love horror novellas. I would like to read more of them, so if you have any recommendations for any, please let me know. I guess that's all I'll be updating you about over here. good people? I am back at home now. It's after 5:30. I just got back from the grocery store. I picked up some brown sugar for my last and final Christmas recipe for this evening. I did extend my Christmas in July readathon for today until today, just because I wanted to finish my last book. I'm distracted by the mosquitoes. Anyways, I did end up finishing The Visitor last night by Sergio Gomez. You can just sit down and read this within like an hour. I love this book. As I've mentioned, this is a reread for me, so 5-star read, horror novella, and basically a group of people, strangers, are all eating at this diner in the middle of Indiana during a snowstorm on Christmas Day, and aliens arrive and they have to protect themselves. The aliens are going about their business. Weapons are involved. I think you could have so much fun reading this book, and everything you could want to have happen happens, and I think it just really brings some holiday cheer all around. It reminds me a little bit of the X-Files, and I do like that. Also, has anyone else got an ad for the X-Files Lego set? Because is that real? Probably the coolest Lego set I've ever seen. Yeah, I had a great time reading this book. I think I'll read it every year. It doesn't take long, and puts me in good spirits. If I ever were to write a horror novella, which I'd like to, I'd want it to be very similar to this one. After I read The Visitor, I then picked up my next and last read, and I'm a little on the fence about it right now, but the book I'm reading is The Most Wonderful Crime of the Year by Ali Carter. This was published sometime last year, and yeah, it's like a little bit of a mixed bag for me right now. I think I'm easing into it, I'm warming up to it a bit, but it started off a little rocky for me. I do think that the premise is pretty cool. Basically, imagine if you were a cozy mystery, or just like a mystery writer, and you get invited to Agatha Christie's house, her mansion, and while she's there, Agatha Christie disappears, and you among the other people in the house are needing to solve what happened. I think in all of my recordings, I'm always like, you have to read to find out what happened. What I think is maybe throwing me off just a little bit is the romantic elements of things. And I know this could totally work for many people, but this is somewhat of an enemies to lovers. I know people have the dynamic in friendships and even just family relationships themselves. It doesn't even have to be romantic, but people just like constantly egging each other on, and the humor being in kind of like poking and making fun of one another. And I can respect that in some ways, but I also just think when people only do that and that's their only form of communication, they're just usually like cheap shots and it's in bad taste. After a certain point, I just stopped thinking it's funny, but you gotta come up with something a little bit different. Gotta change the pace a bit. So the couple themselves are just kind of like bickering and not format, which I don't particularly like. And then I also don't particularly like very aggressive men. So having our love interest be this like suave guy that kind of constantly jokes and asks to make out is also really annoying, because I've known people like that. I never think it's cool. I just think it's annoying. Gotta ease into communicating like that with some people. It's not just like that everyone wants your shit on them all the time. So that's kind of how I feel reading about this. The more I am reading into this book though, because I did read a little on my lunch break, I'm like warming up with these characters, and I'm kind of seeing how they could possibly like one another. I'm just seeing like walls come down a little bit, so it makes it more enjoyable when they're poking and prodding at one another. But yeah, I'll need to read the rest of it to figure out what's going on. For today, I'm very excited. My mom sent me the recipe. We're making some dessert. It's going to be like a stuffed snickerdoodle cookie. My mom made them last year for Christmas, and oh my god, so good. So we're going to try to recreate that. But I am sweating, probably gonna take a shower and cool down a bit, and then we will finish our book later tonight.